My wife cheated on me with my best friend. Then I found out the sick truth. If someone told me a scrap of paper could destroy my entire life, I would have laughed. But here I am. I guess I should start at the beginning. My name's Mike. I'm 32. I work a decent job in IT. Married to my college sweetheart, Emma. We've been together almost 10 years now, married for 6. You know, the kind of love where you finish each other's sentences, plan vacations years ahead, dream about growing old together. At least, that's what I thought. Lately, Emma had been distant. I chalked it up to stress. She had just gotten a promotion at her firm. Late nights, early mornings, endless conference calls. I didn't want to be that insecure husband who nags or snoops. So I trusted her. Completely. Until last Thursday. It was raining like hell that night. Emma had texted me around 6:30, saying she had to work late again. Big project due Monday, yada yada. I told her no problem. I figured I'd surprise her with dinner when she got home, maybe watch a movie together if she wasn't too tired. When she finally walked through the door around 10 p.m., she looked flustered. Makeup slightly smudged, hair messy like she'd been running. Again, I didn't question it. I just smiled and handed her a plate of pasta. She barely touched it. Long day? I asked. Yeah, she said, avoiding my eyes. I'm just exhausted. After a quick shower, she went straight to bed. And that should have been the end of it. But the next morning, as I was getting ready for work, I noticed something odd. Her jacket, the one she wore last night, was hanging crooked on the coat rack. It's a stupid detail, I know. But Emma was always neat. Always. Curious, I reached into the pocket, looking for maybe her keys or a receipt she forgot to throw away. And that's when I found it. A crumpled little piece of paper. One simple receipt. From a bar. Timestamp. 8:17 p.m. 2 margaritas. An appetizer sampler. And a shot of whiskey. Total $48.76. And right there, scrawled at the bottom, was a smiley face and the words, "Can't wait for next time, Redheart." I froze. Emma hated margaritas. She was allergic to shellfish. No way she ordered an appetizer platter. And that handwriting, it sure as hell wasn't from a waitress. I stood there for a full minute, just staring at it, my heart pounding so hard it hurt. Was this a mistake? Prank? A misunderstanding? But deep down, I knew. Something was very wrong. I put the receipt back exactly how I found it. Pretended like nothing happened. Kissed her goodbye before work. Even managed to smile. But inside, my world was starting to crack. And that was just the beginning. The rest of that day was a blur. I couldn't focus at work. Couldn't think straight. I kept replaying everything in my mind. The late nights, the rushed showers, the half-hearted kisses. Was it all a lie? By lunchtime, I made a decision. I had to know the truth. When I got home that night, Emma was already there, curled up on the couch with her laptop, looking every bit the hard-working wife. She smiled at me, but it didn't reach her eyes. It used to be effortless, her smile. Now, it felt like a mask. We ordered takeout, made small talk about work, Netflix shows, the weather. I laughed in the right places. Nodded when I was supposed to. All the while, that damn receipt burned a hole in my pocket. After dinner, she went to take another long shower. That's when I grabbed her phone. I know, I shouldn't have. But when the universe throws a neon flashing warning sign at you, you don't just ignore it. Problem was, Emma's phone was locked. Fingerprint and passcode protected. And I didn't know the new one. She changed it 2 weeks ago, said it was because of security updates at work. At the time, I thought nothing of it. No, it felt like a brick wall. But here's the thing, Emma had a backup laptop she'd barely touched anymore. An old MacBook Air stuffed under the coffee table. Curious, I opened it up. No password. God bless her forgetfulness. At first, there was nothing. Just old pictures, some boring Word docs. But then I checked her iMessages. She must have forgotten it syncs across devices. And there it was. A thread with someone named A. No last name. No profile picture. Just an initial. I scrolled up, heart hammering in my ears. The messages started about 3 months ago. Innocent at first. Talk about work frustrations. Casual jokes. then flirting. Then things got explicit. Very explicit. I felt physically sick reading them. Pet names. Can't wait to see you again. Pictures. Talk of nights spent together. Plans to escape for a whole weekend soon. And the worst part? Last night, while I sat at home cooking her dinner, she texted him. You taste better than any margarita face blowing a kiss. I slammed the laptop shut so hard I thought I broke it. I sat there in the living room, staring at the wall, feeling everything crumble around me. I didn't even hear her come out of the shower. Hey, babe, she said casually, drying her hair with a towel. What are you doing? I smiled. I don't know how I pulled it off, but I did. Just checking some old files. I lied. Needed to find an old tax form. She didn't question it. Didn't suspect a thing. She just kissed my forehead and sauntered off to the bedroom. And that's when it hit me. I couldn't confront her. Not yet. I needed more. Proof she couldn't deny. Evidence so clear, so devastating, she wouldn't be able to worm her way out of it. I needed to catch them. In the act. The next few days were pure hell. I barely slept. Barely ate. Just smiled, nodded, played the part of the loving, clueless husband. Meanwhile, every second I spent around Emma made my skin crawl. But I knew I had to be smart. If I confronted her too soon, she'd lie. Cry. Twist it around somehow. I needed to see it with my own eyes. I needed undeniable proof. So I made a plan. First, I told Emma I had to go out of town for a mandatory work training on Saturday. An overnight trip, company paid, boring stuff. She bought it without hesitation. In fact, she seemed a little too cheerful about it. That stung. Next, I borrowed my buddy's old Toyota. Not my usual car. I figured if she was looking out the window for me, she wouldn't recognize it. Then I installed a simple GPS tracker app on her phone while she was in the shower Thursday night. Took me less than 2 minutes. She never noticed. I felt sick doing it. Like I was violating her privacy or something. But then I'd remember the texts, the kisses, the plans for a future that didn't include me. And any guilt disappeared. Saturday morning rolled around. I packed a fake duffel bag, kissed her goodbye, and pretended to drive off toward the airport. But instead of heading out of town, I parked 2 blocks away, tucked behind a gas station, and waited. And watched. Around 11:30 a.m., I checked the tracker. She was on the move. Straight downtown. Right to a hotel. A freaking hotel. Not even trying to be subtle. My stomach twisted into knots, but I stayed calm. Focused. I waited 20 minutes to be safe, then drove over, heart slamming against my ribs the whole way. The hotel was decent. Not luxury, but not seedy either. Business travelers. Couples sneaking around. I parked a few lots over, slipped on a baseball cap and sunglasses, and walked inside like I belonged. Nobody even looked at me. At the front desk, a young guy was helping another guest check in. Behind him, I saw the room assignment board. Room 214. Booked under the name A. Brooks. I almost laughed. That must have been her lover. I made my way upstairs, footsteps echoing way too loudly in the empty hallway. Room 214 was near the end. I crept closer, heart hammering. I could hear faint voices inside. Laughter. Her laughter. The same laugh that used to be reserved for me. I stood there, fist raised, ready to knock, ready to barge in, ready to rip the whole facade apart. But I didn't. Not yet. Instead, I pulled out my phone. Started recording. I needed audio. Something I could shove in her face later when she inevitably started denying it. Through the thin door, I caught bits and pieces. I missed you. You're so bad. God, you make me crazy. Soft moans. A low male chuckle. I felt physically ill. Like I might throw up right there in the hallway. I backed away slowly, almost in a trance, and stumbled back down the stairs. I sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. And for the first time since this nightmare started, I cried. Real, ugly, body-racking sobs. Not just because she was cheating, but because part of me, deep down, still loved her. And that part was dying. Right there in that stupid hotel parking lot. I spent the next 2 days in a daze. Emma thought I was at work training, texting me sweet little updates. Miss you. Hope you're learning lots. Face blowing a kiss. It made me sick. When I finally came home Sunday evening, she greeted me at the door with a big hug and a kiss, like nothing in the world was wrong. Like she hadn't just spent the weekend in some cheap hotel bed with another man. I hugged her back, tightly, maybe a little too tightly, because I wasn't just holding my wife. I was holding a memory, something that was already gone. That night, I barely slept. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, replaying every laugh, every kiss, every I love you she ever said. Were any of them real? Or had it all been a lie? By Monday morning, I couldn't take it anymore. I needed answers. I needed to end this. I waited until after dinner, when she was curled up on the couch, scrolling through her phone like everything was fine. Emma, I said, my voice calm but shaking slightly, we need to talk. She looked up surprised. Sure, babe. What's up? I pulled out my phone, opened the recording, hit play. The audio filled the room. Her voice, his voice, the moans, the laughter. At first, her face stayed blank, like she couldn't process what she was hearing. Then her skin went white as a sheet. Mike, she stammered, scrambling for words. But I didn't let her. How long? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She opened her mouth, closed it. Tears welled up instantly, like she just flipped a switch. I didn't mean for it to happen, she said, voice trembling. It was just a mistake. It didn't mean anything. I laughed. A harsh, bitter sound. Didn't mean anything. I repeated. You planned weekends together. You told him you loved him. Her hand shook as she grabbed mine. Mike, please. Please, I can explain. I yanked my hand away like she'd burned me. Who is he? I asked, already knowing it didn't matter. She hesitated. I pressed harder. Tell me. Finally, she whispered, Andrew. Andrew. My stomach dropped. Andrew wasn't just some random guy. He was one of my best friends. My groomsman at our wedding. Someone I had trusted with everything. I staggered back like she'd punched me. It wasn't just her betrayal. It was his too. You're disgusting, I said, my voice breaking. Both of you. She sobbed harder, collapsing to the floor, begging, pleading. I was lonely, she cried. You were always working late. You never looked at me the same anymore. I made a mistake, Mike. Please don't throw us away. I stood there, staring at the woman I thought I'd spend my life with. And I realized something. She wasn't sorry she cheated. She was sorry she got caught. I'm leaving, I said coldly. Her eyes widened in panic. No, please, Mike, let's talk about this. We can fix it. I shook my head. Some things couldn't be fixed. Without another word, I walked upstairs, grabbed a bag, and started packing. She followed me, sobbing, clinging to me, trying to pull the bag out of my hands. I'll do anything, she cried. Therapy. Counseling. Please. I peeled her off me and looked her dead in the eye. You already did everything, Emma, I said. Just not with me. I walked out the door. Didn't look back. Not even when she screamed my name down the driveway. I didn't go to a hotel that night. Didn't crash with a friend. I just drove. No destination. No plan. Just the open road and the sound of my own broken heart pounding in my ears. By midnight, I pulled into an old parking lot near a lake we used to visit when we were first dating. Back when everything felt real. I sat there in the dark, staring at the black water, wondering how my life had unraveled so fast. Wondering if I was even the same person anymore. At some point, I must have fallen asleep in the car. Because when I woke up, my phone was buzzing nonstop. Text, calls, voicemails. All from Emma. Some were desperate. Some angry. Some accusing me of giving up too easily. Typical. I turned the phone off without reading more. I wasn't ready to deal with her. I wasn't sure I'd ever be ready. I wanted to stay with my brother for a few days. Told him everything. He wanted to go after Andrew immediately. Said he'd break his face. Part of me wanted that too. But honestly, I didn't have the energy. I just wanted it all to be over. The next week was a blur of legal stuff, talking to lawyers, figuring out who got what paperwork needed signing. We hadn't even been married that long. No kids. Splitting assets was messy, but not impossible. Emotionally, though, it was a bloodbath. Emma kept trying to reach out. Letters, messages, randomly showing up where she knew I'd be. Each time, I shut her down harder. She didn't deserve a second chance. Not after what she did, but just when I thought I was finally free. That's when the rail bomb dropped. One night, I got a call from an unknown number. Normally, I wouldn't have answered, but something made me pick up. It was a woman's voice. "Is this Mike?" she asked. "Yeah." "Who's this?" She paused, then said, "You don't know me." "My name's Lauren. I'm Andrew's fiancé." I sat bolt upright. "Fiancé?" Andrew had a fiancé. "Listen," Lauren said quickly, her voice shaking. "I found your number in his email. I know this is crazy, but I think we need to talk." We met at a coffee shop the next day. She looked just as wrecked as I felt. Dark circles, trembling hands, like she hadn't slept in days. She pulled out her phone and showed me everything.